It was a quiet night, too quiet, the kind of silence that makes you question every shadow, every whisper. And then it happened. A scream, sharp, piercing. A young man was found slumped against the wall of a dimly lit alley, his face pale, his eyes wide with shock. But this was no ordinary crime scene. There were no bloodstains, no signs of struggle, just a single crumpled note clutched in his hand. The words were barely legible. "She's gone. I couldn't win her over." Listen, attraction is not random. It's not luck. It's psychology. You are not the best-looking guy in the room. You are not the richest. But you know one thing. By Valentine's Day, she would be your. Not by force, not by chance, by design. This is the world of dark psychology, a world where minds are hacked, emotions are weaponized, and free will is an illusion. And tonight, we're going to pull back the curtain. Here's the truth. You're being manipulated every single day. When you see an ad for a luxury car, it's not just selling you a vehicle. It's selling you a lifestyle, a status, a dream. And it's using psychological triggers like scarcity, limited stock, and social proof, everyone's buying it, to make you act. When a politician gives a speech, they're not just sharing ideas. They're using loaded language, emotional appeals, and repetition to plant beliefs in your mind. Even in your personal relationships, manipulation can creep in. A friend who guilt trips you into doing favors. A partner who uses silent treatment to control your behavior. These are all forms of dark psychology at work. And the worst part? You don't even realize it's happening. Because the best manipulators don't leave fingerprints. They leave thoughts. Thoughts you believe are your own. What if I told you that falling in love isn't an accident? That there are psychological triggers, hidden switches inside the human mind that, when activated, can make someone feel a deep, irresistible attraction towards you. This isn't about being fake. It's about understanding how the mind works. Let's break it down. Scarcity effect. People want what they can't have. If you seem too available, you become invisible. If you pull back, you become valuable. Ever noticed how the moment you stop texting someone, they suddenly care more? That's not magic. That's psychology. The investment trap. The more someone invests in you, emotionally, mentally, even physically, the more they convince themselves that they like you. The secret? Get them to do favors for you. Yes, you heard that right. If they do small things for you, their brain will justify it by thinking, I must really like this person. The dopamine chase. Humans are wired to seek pleasure. The key? Unpredictability. If you always respond immediately, if you're always available, their brain doesn't release dopamine. But if you mix attention with absence, they start to crave you like a drug. How it affects you without you knowing. What's shocking is that this is being used against you every single day. Ever felt addicted to a toxic person? Someone who ignored you, then gave you just enough attention to keep you hooked? That's not an accident. That's psychological warfare. Marketers do it. Social media algorithms do it. Even politicians do it. They control your emotions without you realizing it. But here's the good news. Once you understand these tactics, you can use them to your advantage. The darkest manipulation techniques ever used. Now, let's go deeper. Because there are elite-level techniques used by the most powerful manipulators in history. Covert hypnosis, using certain words and phrases that sink into the subconscious, creating emotions without the other person realizing it. For example, mirroring their speech patterns makes them feel an instant connection. Neuro-Linguistic Programming. The art of planting ideas in someone's mind without them knowing. Want them to feel something when they think of you? Associate yourself with pleasure and excitement. Every time they have fun, subtly remind them of your presence. Their mind will link you to happiness. The power of silence. Most people talk too much when they're nervous, but the most dangerous players in the game of attraction know when to be silent. Because silence creates tension. Tension creates obsession. How to defend yourself and take control. By now you're starting to realize something. Love isn't magic. It's not just fate. It's psychology. The world is full of people who know these tricks and use them every day. If you don't understand them, you'll always be at their mercy. So, what's next? You have two choices. Ignore this information and keep believing that attraction is just luck. Use it wisely, not to deceive, not to manipulate, but to navigate the game of attraction with awareness and control. Because in the end, psychology always wins. Next, practice psychological self-defense. Question your thoughts. Are they truly yours or have they been planted? Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And finally, take back your power. Set boundaries. Say no. Surround yourself with people who respect and uplift you. Because once you understand the game, you can stop playing it. And now the real question is, who's been using it on you? Let me tell you a story. A young woman, let's call her Sarah, was once the life of the party, confident, outgoing, full of dreams. But then she met him, a charming, charismatic man who seemed to understand her like no one else. He listened to her fears, validated her insecurities, and slowly, subtly, began to shape her reality. "You're too trusting," he'd say. "People will take advantage of you." Over time, Sarah stopped seeing her friends. She stopped pursuing her passions. She became isolated, dependent, and utterly convinced that he was the only one who truly cared. What happened to Sarah? She fell victim to one of the oldest psychological tactics in the book, gaslighting, a form of manipulation where the abuser twists reality, making the victim doubt their own thoughts, memories, and sanity. But gaslighting is just the tip of the iceberg. Dark psychology is a labyrinth of deception, persuasion, and control. Techniques like social engineering, where manipulators exploit human trust to gain access to information or resources. Fear-based persuasion, where they use threats or anxiety to force compliance. And mind control, where they reprogram your thoughts to serve their agenda. These aren't just theories. They're tools. Tools used by cult leaders, toxic partners, corrupt politicians, and even advertisers. And they're more effective than you think.